Hey, what's up, everybody? I am Tessa Allen, host of Spotlight Radio Show. I am going live tonight. I am corresponding for Gulf Coast Epilepsy Alliance. I'm doing testimonies with Alicia Daniels tonight. Hello. Okay, just send a request to join the live, and I'll bring you right on. Okay. Let's view. Oscar. All right, she's going to jump on shortly. Hi.
Hi.
Hey. Yeah. This is crazy. How are you
All right.
doing?
How you doing?
Doing good. Look, so now this is like something, I don't know, something weird. Like I can't see you now from my side.
And I can see and hear you now.
Okay, great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm all right. I'm all right.
Okay, so what brings you here is Gulf Coast Epilepsy Alliance. Shout out to Sheena
Yes.
for giving me this opportunity to speak with you and to give your testimony.
Yes.
So, what I want to know first, give me your story of epilepsy. Do you have epilepsy? Do someone in your family have epilepsy, or you're just a big supporter of Gulf Coast Epilepsy Alliance?
My grandson has epilepsy. He actually had a seizure before he was even born. He had a seizure in utero,
Wow.
which we didn't know was possible. And then he was born. Everything was fine for a couple of hours, and then he had a seizure and was rushed to the NICU because he couldn't maintain his body temp. He couldn't maintain his color. He started turning cyanotic, and then he was having seizure after seizure after seizure. And he was in the NICU for about a month.
Wow, from day one.
Before day one, he was in the
Yeah, before
womb.
day one.
hmm
This is amazing. Like, wow.
hmm
Wait, hold on now. I gotta grasp that. So in the womb.
They say he had a stroke and a seizure in the womb, which we didn't know was possible.
Oh my
And then he had, yeah, so then when he came out, he continued to have seizures
God.
as well, so, and the strokes as well. But yeah, he continued to have seizures. He's been having seizures since day one.
Day one. And how old is he
He's
now?
11 now. He'll be 12 in June.
Okay, wow. Okay, so from that day until now, has his seizures declined a little because of the medicines and because it was caught early on with him?
No, actually, his seizures continued to progressively get worse. He ended up having, well, even before that, they just said he had a seizure disorder. He
Hmm.
was not diagnosed with epilepsy until he was 5, almost 6, is when they finally diagnosed him as an epileptic. He just had a
Really?
seizure disorder before,
Hmm.
yes. And now he has what they call intractable seizures, so no medication can actually stop his seizures. It can help kind of control it, but not really. He just had brain surgery on March 18th because he
Okay.
was having so many drop seizures that it became a health risk where he was
Hmm.
falling downstairs and injuring himself. So since the surgery March 18th, his seizures have declined.
Okay. Thank God. Oh, wow. Wow, this is amazing. Like, my uncle, one of my dad's older brother, has epilepsy.
Okay.
So, with your grandson, is how many kids do you have?
I
May I
have
ask?
3.
Three. And is it your oldest daughters?
Yes,
Is it
it's
your
my oldest daughter.
daughters?
It's my oldest
Your
daughter.
oldest daughter's son?
hmm
Okay. So with that, I mean, how can I say? From day one, to me personally, just hearing before birth, like, I don't know. I hate this when people sometimes be like, "Oh, I hate you have to go through that." I feel like some people are born for certain things, and I, I mean, it's just mind-boggling that he had it before birth. Like I never heard of that before. I'm like blown away.
Yeah,
I
we
wish I
were
would.
too. Because she was
Yes.
like, she felt like he just kind of just went crazy. And we was like, oh, we didn't know what that was. So first
Yeah.
they said he had a stroke in the wound. And we was like, okay. Then it was like, okay,
Hmm.
he had a seizure in the womb. And I'm like, a seizure in the womb. I mean, I know he had them since birth when he was born,
Yeah.
but I didn't know that could happen before birth. But yes.
Absolutely. Wow. I know you have some strong sisters. Jeez. So what stops the worry? What is it
Nothing.
that, stops the worry? Is there anything that stops the
No,
worry? No.
no. I pray, give it to God as best I can, but
Hmm.
no.
Yeah. So overall, with him now being 11, is there like any signs that come right before he has one, or do you get like alert beforehand?
We have some that are strange. Like I used to tell the doctors his nose would start to bleed, and they were saying that's not a sign or a symptom. And I'm like,
Hmm.
maybe not for other kids, but for him, if his nose
Yeah.
starts to bleed, I'm like, we're
Yeah.
gonna have a seizure.
Yeah.
So we noticed that. Sometimes he can feel it coming on. He'll point to his face, and I'll look, and
Mhm.
there's no nose bleeding. I don't see anything, and then all of a sudden his face will start twitching. But other than that, no.
Yeah.
He might act a
Okay.
little different, and I'll be like, something's
Mhm.
off, so we'll watch him, but no real warnings.
Absolutely. So when he has a seizure, is it 911 immediately, or do you handle it at home?
I handle it at home,
Okay.
because we've been dealing with it for so
Yeah.
long. I kind of got complacent at one point, and so I
Mhm.
had to kick it back up. He had 2 years ago, he had a VNS put in. So we
Okay.
have a magnet at home that we carry. So when he has a seizure, we swipe that to help. But I
Okay.
usually deal with it at home. He also has a rescue med that we give too if it's lasts longer than 4 or 5 minutes. So I deal with it at home. It has to be a true emergency for me to call 911 or head to the
Okay.
hospital.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. I'm just amazed, Daniel. So his normal daily acts of living, can he do normal things? You see, like my uncle, my dad says, my dad is
Hmm.
67. He's gonna be, don't want me to say, but at my dad's age, and my dad is like the second to the youngest
Hmm.
of all my grandmother's kids, and my dad always says that my grandmother kind of held him close. He, when they're outside playing, he's inside. He pretty much could get away with murder, because my grandmother kind of sheltered him. He can make quilts. He's a good cook, because he stayed around my grandmother.
Hmm.
So do y'all kind of keep him close, or do you kind of like, when it's playtime, go ahead and play, or
I
you
push
know?
him out and let him do everything. He's also autistic. So he
Oh,
has that
okay.
issue and he's completely
Okay.
nonverbal. So,
Okay.
but I push him out. I let him experience everything. The only time I really hold him in is if it's real, real hot because he
Okay.
doesn't like to hydrate. And so I know that'll be bad for him and can cause seizures. Otherwise,
Yeah.
no, I push him out. I let him go. There's no holding him back. I take him everywhere. I let him
Yeah.
experience life because I don't know today or tomorrow if he'll have a fatal seizure and that'll be the end. And I don't want him to not have experienced life because of my
Absolutely.
fears.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So this what brings me to ask you the question, how did you get involved with Gulf Coast Epilepsy Alliance?
Sheena actually reached out to me. I had been sharing Daniel's story on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
and she sent me a message and asked me to join the Gulf Coast Alliance group. And I was like, I didn't know what it was about. And I was like, okay. And I joined it and just never did anything to it. And I kept sharing. And then she reached out to me again when I shared a really sad story about what happened with Daniel. And then
Yes.
I started reaching out to her and I joined. And then I started seeing what they were doing. So she actually just kind of reached out because she saw my story.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Beautiful story. Like one, and so with Daniel's case, how many are there out there that have strokes, seizures, um, in the womb? Have you
I
and
don't know.
have you connected with someone like that
No, I
as well?
actually have not. I have not. And I don't know if maybe they didn't know because I didn't know he had had one in the wound until after the fact. I just knew about the stroke. And then I was
Okay.
told after the fact about the seizure in the wound. So I didn't know at first. And so I
Okay.
never really talked about it. I just know, oh,
Mhm.
he's had seizures all his life is all I ever said. So no, I've never connected with anybody before with that, or even with the stroke in the womb. So
Wow. One in a million.
yeah, his
Goodness. I don't know.
doctor calls him an enigma because he doesn't quite fit. into any
Yes.
one specific category, and
Mhm.
he throws them all off.
Yes, yes. Wow, Daniel. Goodness. Oh, well, thanks for sharing your story. Is there anything else you would like anyone to know? Someone that just may be just around that haven't seen someone that may, Daniel may have an epileptic seizure in front of them. You know, like my grandmother used to say, run and get a spoon, you know,
No,
so to
please
put in
don't.
his mouth.
Please
So,
don't stick anything in
yeah.
their mouths. I don't know why. I actually was told that for a long time, but
Hmm.
being in the medical field, I work as a CNA and as a medical assistant. I learned
Yeah.
no, you don't do that. Also,
Okay.
don't stick your fingers in their mouth because they will clamp down on it.
Okay.
Best thing is to give them space and turn them on their side,
Okay.
because you don't want them to injure themselves. And
Yeah.
that's it. A lot of times when they come out of it, I know Daniel personally, he doesn't like
Hmm.
attention. He doesn't want you to be babying him and all over him. So
Okay.
usually when he comes out of his seizure, I smile and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he'll smile and he'll be like, "Okay," and he goes on.
Yes, you got
So some
this.
people, yeah, you have to kind of look at their cues too, because some people they don't even remember sometimes when they come out of it. And
Okay.
so they're like, why is everybody around? So I say give them space, let them go through the motion, just make sure they're not injuring themselves. If you need to call 911, call 911. But no, keep everything out of their mouths. Nothing
Yes.
in their
Okay.
mouths, please.
Okay. And what about laying on the floor? Is it known fact that you're supposed to lay someone on the floor?
On their sides. You want them to
On their
be as
side.
flat as, because if they're sitting up, they could fall. So you'll be
Okay.
having to hold them, and they could be head jerking if they're doing that, and they can injure you or themselves. So I
Okay.
tend to, if he's up, I tend to lay him flat on the bed if he is, or flat on the floor, and I make
Mhm.
sure there's something under his head so that he doesn't hit his head against the floor if he's jerking. He's not having very many tonic-clonic seizures anymore, thank God.
Yes.
But I just try to protect his head, protect his
Hmm.
airway, and just make sure there's nothing around him to injure him.
Absolutely. Wow, you have an amazing, I mean, amazing story. Each and every
Yeah,
day, you know, living with this.
it's a
So,
struggle. If it wasn't for prayer and
yes,
people like Sheena and her
yes,
group, yeah, I don't know where I'd be.
absolutely. She sent me a message, like in October on my Spotlight Radio Show Facebook fan page. And just like a couple of weeks ago, I was just laying in bed and I seen it and I was like, oh my goodness, please reach out to me, you know, for the future. And she sent me this. And I mean, like I was doing she was on my podcast like 2 weeks ago and
Hmm.
I was crying. I could not stop crying just by listening to the story, you know,
Hmm.
of her and her son. And I thank God that I was able to connect, even though I don't have it. I just feel connected to it because of my uncle, you know.
Hmm.
So I'm glad to be a part of the journey, you know.
Hmm.
Especially now, I'm going to be a fan of yours. I'm going to follow you. I'm going to keep up with you and Daniel.
That's my
Um,
Buddha. That's my Buddha.
yes, yes. So thank you so much. Thank you for
You're
your
welcome.
time.
You're
And
welcome.
please give Daniel a hug for me. What is his favorite thing to do? I do want to ask that before you go.
Sports. He loves sports and dinosaurs, so it's kind of a toss up.
Okay, okay. Oh, well, thank you.
You're
Tell him hello
welcome.
for me.
I sure will.
All
He
right.
normally
Thank
would be
you,
around here
Alicia.
saying hi, but he's hiding.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Give
You're
him a hug for
welcome.
me.
I
All
will.
right.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Be sure you go to www.gceatx.org to support Gulf Coast Epilepsy Alliance. They have over so many members. I will be speaking with a bunch more members each and every day this week. So I'm turning Spotlight Radio Show over to Gulf Coast Epilepsy Alliance. I'm speaking with all the members to give their testimonies right here on Spotlight Radio Show. So I really appreciate the opportunity. Sheena, thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. Please be sure to follow Alicia. Um, right here on Instagram, and also go to Gulf Coast Epilepsy Alliance on Facebook. They have amazing things. Also, May 19th is going down. So I really appreciate the love. Thanks, guys. Thank you.